Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Lali-Ho League. We have made it to the bracket stage, and we've got a great race coming to you today between Rexbanner and Xenocat, and we've got some real implications in this race, don't we, today, Tybalt?
Yes, we do. Starting off, this is what we call an elimination match. Xenocat is one game ahead of Rex coming into this. The reason for that is that in the Swiss rounds, Xenocat ended up just nudging up a little bit more points than Rex. So Rex is going to have to pull a win out of here to continue on to a best of 2 of 3.
Yeah, so it's going to be really important for Rex to win this one to stay in this. So even though this is technically a best of 3, it's also an elimination race for Rex. So we've got some really interesting things. We're moving on. In addition to this kind of format change where we're seeing this best of 3 with kind of an advantage win here for Xenocat, we also have some flag changes. Do you want to go through some of your favorite changes from the Swiss rounds to the bracket today, Tybalt?
So some of the more noticeable ones is the T Wildish is no longer on, and we're on T Pro. So all of that really good loot that you ended up finding early on, like the White Spears, the Murasames, yeah, you're not going to find those. Those are going to be gated in shops probably, because you're not just going to find them laying around like they used to be. That's probably one of the more difficult ones that's turned on, besides some other ones that will definitely come up later.
I think another one that's going to really put an impact is we've got selling of loot is going to be 0 gold for everything. So anything that you find in chests that you're not going to use, might as well throw it away because the shopkeepers won't give you anything for it. So we make that up by giving runners a random amount of money at the beginning of the game. Plus, you get money for completing battles still. That money is still going to be given to the runners, but they can't just sell excess loot this time, and that's going to really impact the shopping options for the runners.
Yeah, so with that money where you were talking about, they start from anywhere between 20,000 to 80,000. And depending on how much you get, that really depends on what you tend to spend early on to kind of get yourself going. Do I really need this karate to get through this fight, or can I wait a little bit longer?
And also, how many Star Veils do I want to buy instead of just like throwing as many as you can right then? Some of these items that are more expensive, especially when we get to some of the gated ones, are really pricey, and you really have to make your GP stretch a lot more than you did in the Swiss brackets.
Yeah, because we still have the S standard, so a lot of the nice J items like hourglasses, sirens, coffins are still for sale. But an hourglass 2, 6,000. Siren, 4,000. Like, you normally would buy 10 of those right off the bat. Well, that's almost all your money right there. That's 40,000 for 10 sirens.
Yeah, and for that reason, I think it's unlikely that people are going to be doing like big egg grinds, even though it's a pretty fast grind. If you've got sirens, you probably only want to buy a couple of them, and then you're going to rather use them on big XP fights that you can get on the moon, I think.
Yeah,
But it looks like we're off.
Yeah, so we got the Edward start here. Let's see who Edward's partner in crime is going to be.
That is Palom, and we are given the spoon. Now, in the Swiss flags, this would be an awesome start. But in this one, well, that spoon flag, it's turned off. So, Edward, sorry, buddy. You're not going to be able to swing that spoon around this time around.
It's just a nice piece of cutlery that Edge, if found, can actually dart it. I did notice that they ended up getting a big old sack of cash of 71,000 gold. Did you notice any other items that they had gotten in their grab bag? Because they're no longer getting all the rune rings and Dorfax, they're just getting a random amalgamation of items.
I did miss that, but I did note that I believe that was the Calbrena that gave the item at the beginning, and that is one of our objectives, objective number 4. So that's going to be a really interesting thing that our runners are going to really hope to find that berry key this time around.
We've got some divergence here. We got Xeno doing the normal watery pass. We have Rex going into Eblin Castle. Eblin Castle has some pretty good loot Because there's 3 trapped chests in there. If you can find those 3 trapped chests early on, it's worth looting because there's really high gear loot in there. As we see a full moon and bandana coming out of there already.
And remember, this excess loot is not going to be for money, but you still want to get that loot to outfit your team. We don't know who the team is going to be at this point, but just having as much gear as possible to outfit whatever team you get is a good start.
Mm-hmm. And it comes down to choices of when your inventory becomes full, what do I keep? What do I get rid of? It comes down to a hard choice of, do I think I'm going to have this character later on?
I believe Rexbanner found a really nice item for the beginning of a seed there in one of the towers, a dancing dagger. That is probably the best weapon you can find for Edward at the beginning of a seed.
Xenocat just going into their inventory, and in their starting kit they have a dancing dagger and a charm rod, black belt, and ogre axe.
That's a pretty good starting kit, I must say. But having 2 dancing daggers, both Palom and Edward can use them, so having both of them right away is really good. It doesn't take long for Palom to be able to use other things, but that dancing dagger right at the beginning, that's really nice.
Yeah, anything to get through that first fight. If the runners are able to get through the first fight on Hobbs, Palom almost gets every single one of his tier 2 spells. And at that point, he's ready to rock and roll until he gets up to his Quake and Virus.
And it looks like Rexbanner heading over to Mount Hobbs, going to get a peek of the character up at the top there. Sees with our Xenocat flag that it's a crossbow and lit arrows that Palom gets started with, but going right to that dancing dagger, and we're going to see what's going on. Meanwhile, Xenocat going into the back end of the waterfall cave.
Yeah, the dancing dagger is going to help out early on because you can use it as an item to do anywhere from 100 to 300 damage instead of swinging for 60 at most.
Yeah, and its use as an item is definitely its use. We see a couple of Yangs, one friendly, one not so friendly, up at the top of Mount Hobbs here.
It's a battle to find out which monk is better.
You can see already those dancing daggers coming into play and see just how much damage they can do. Meanwhile, Xenocat finding a lunar sparkle in the waterfall boss, and it is Wyvern. Xenocat quickly resets, but is going to be relieved to know not going to be ambushed by that mega nuke at any other boss spot in this scene.
Yeah, very nice to see that Wyvern early on. You hate to sit there and be in Dwarf 2 and see a sparkle, you're going, oh no. Am I prepared for this or not?
Rexbanner has completed the fight. We'll get Yang into the party. No key item at this location, though. Just the character, but it's still going to be good to have another party member here. Meanwhile, Xenocat completes Damsian Castle and gets the hovercraft. Will be useful once the pink tail is found for objective number 3.
Yeah, a lot of runners have been taking off that hovercraft early on because there is the pink tail. Some runners wait, others just go, I'm probably going to need it because you only need to complete 4 of the 5 objectives. We've already seen 1 at the Beigen spot. Wonder where Azura is, and we have to find the others to be able to be in go mode.
It looks like the starting equipment for the Yang in our party is the Charm Claw. Not really. It's one of these items that's a little bit deceptive. It's got some uses for dealing damage, I think, against giants. But the trade-off is it has a lower accuracy, and so you generally will end up doing less damage with that equipped than anything else. So I would... I think that's not what Xenocat wanted to see equipped to that Yang at the beginning of the scene.
No, but there's something else to notice about that Charm Claw. It actually gives +3 agility. So having the extra agility early on to stick in your anchor slot, which is the center slot, actually kind of nice. But you kind of keep that in mind that it does give the 3 agility so you don't mess up your anchoring.
Rexbanner going through Antlion Cave and finding Kane Azo at the bottom here. This is actually a really nice spot to find Kane Azo. Not very scary at this location because its damage from the wave attack, which is the scariest attack from Kinazo, is based on its current HP, and the HP in this spot is very low.
Only about 1,000 HP in this spot, so it looks like we got him hiding in the shell right now, and means he's gonna be gone here fairly soon. I think Rex was trying to hit him with the lightning. I'm hoping that his wave was going to be up at the time, but Palom just a little too fast.
And those dancing daggers enough to finish off the nightmare turtle, and yeah, it looks. Oh, was that a siren? It looks like was in our starting.
Yeah, so we do have a.
Too, so yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, having that starting siren is actually quite nice. You can get your team quite online if you can find a coffin to combo with it. But do you really want to buy a coffin? Getting Yang early levels is huge because his damage output, as we like to call him, the punch mage. Mages need levels to do damage, and so does Yang, because his damage is based not only on his strength but on his level too.
I think the upside in this particular seed is those dancing daggers are really going to help deal the damage in the early game, and you might be able to save off really leveling up Yang until the mid game, and so no desperation to use it right at the beginning, and I think that's a relief.
We have Rex checking the Baron shop and buying some tense life potions and some cure 2s because we have not found a white mage yet. So we're going to be doing some chemistry here until we find our first white mage.
One thing you might notice is as the runners are looting these chests, oftentimes you'll see a chest have 0 gold in it. That has to do with the flag where all items sell for 0. Another thing that Free Enterprise does on most flag settings is if you get a really low level piece of gear or item, it's just replaced by whatever money you'd get for selling it right away. And since things sell for 0, those things are replaced with 0 gold. So it's functionally empty chests at that time.
Yeah, it's all those quote-unquote junk items like paladin armor. Though some items that you would think would be junk aren't actually in that pool, like whistles. You still see whistles out there, so you can summon that big chocobo if you need to store some stuff.
Yeah, that is one way of dealing with the inventory management, but it is expensive, those whistles, if you're buying them.
Yeah. Great to sell if we didn't have Cell Zero on.
Yeah. Looks like that magma key that was the reward for defeating Kanazo. Rexbanner taking advantage of that, heading straight into the underground. We don't have a hook seed today.
No, and I probably would guess that Rex is probably going to do some extra looting down here because this is a gated area as well as gated shops. So definitely going to be checking all the shops looking for some of those nice J items that we talked about earlier, like coffins and
there's those sirens. Yeah, I think the looting in the underground, the best places are going to be in the that are available right now are going to be the Sylph Cave and the Fame Arch because they have trap chests in those areas. There's only one trap chest in the Fame Arch though, so oftentimes you see runners go in and loot the first 3 floors of the Fame Arch and just reset when they find that one trap chest that has 5 warriors in it. There's a lot of trap chests in Sylph Cave, so you don't see as much looting of that.
I think there's 7 in Sylph, so there's a
that
lot of
right.
trap chests in there to try to avoid and too many to keep track of. It in most cases it's better just to take the Fame Arch chest as it is still a gated area and you can still find some decent stuff in there. We have another shop check in Tamra from Rex, and there's some hourglasses and mute bells as well.
Yeah, mute bell is a really interesting item. There's a couple uses. I think the main one that we see it is in the lunar subterranean. There's a encounter that you can get with a siren where you get 3 warlocks, and it basically makes it so they can't use magic, and they're pretty harmless, and they're worth a decent amount of experience. But there's a couple other places that they can be used throughout a seed too if necessary.
Yeah, the Baron guards, you can mute them so they don't counter with their spells.
Yeah, another place I've seen them, if you're doing trap chests in Stealth, if you decide to take them on, you can use them on the 6 ghost encounter to make it so that they don't, they're not able to do damage with their Fire 2 spells, which they open with.
I did not know that. You learn something every day, they say.
Yeah,
That's my lesson for the day.
It's a way to get some experience if you're not able to find sirens and not able to get to good grind spots in general. Those ghost chests are pretty good. If you've got like if you get your agility set right, you got like Quake or something on your Palom, and you just start with the mute bell, you're good to go.
Well, it looks like Rex ended up finding the trap chest.
Yeah, pretty nice. We also see Xenocat swapping out that Charm Claw for the Fire Claw, getting another Dancing Dagger. This is like a Dancing Seed.
And I wonder what the harp music is going to be.
Well, if we get Dancing Mad, then it's definitely the Dancing Seed.
Yeah, that was my thought. We'll get our first look in the Fame Arch here. Hard to say if our runners are actually going to try and take on any of the fights down here, just with the low level of the party, and those fights in there can be kind of nasty.
I agree. I think just getting some info at this point is good. I think that's kind of standard for a really early underground dive like we're seeing here. In addition to that, there's the free key item check in the vanilla rat tail chest in this area of the Fame Arch that Rexbanner is in right now. There's also another set of shops, including a gated item shop, as well as the aforementioned bosses that are probably not going to be checked at this point.
At least a notable item that I saw that Rex had found, he found an ice claw for the Yang. So another elemental claw for that Yang.
Being able to hit weaknesses with claws is something that makes Yang so much more effective, especially in the early to mid game.
Yeah, I think as we always think as the Thunder Claw as the Punder Claw, the OP Claw, but there are bosses that are mostly weak against Thunder, but you still have to worry about those ice weaknesses and fire weaknesses as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are just a couple things. You want to have them in your arsenal if you've got Yang in your party. Looks like there is that one somewhat free fight that's either going to be the Bear guards or the Kaipo in fight with that. I think they're still both relatively dangerous to take on with this low level of a party. If you had 5 members in your party and an hourglass, you might want to go ahead and take care of it. The other thing is if you don't have like a coffin, like you mentioned earlier, to take them out, it's still chipping away at them is going to take a long time at this low level.
Yeah, with the amount of party members, the only fight that would be relatively free would be the Baron guards, because they would get 2 attacks out and knock you down to 1 party member. If it's the Kaipo guards, 3 attacks are coming out at you, and they're going to hit hard being in that Azura spot.
Xenocat wanted to know which one it was. It's the Baron guards, but no interest in fighting right then. We'll see if they want to go back and try it again.
I think it was just the information of knowing which guards it is, because the one sprite looks the same for both. Knowing that Kaipo guards are still out there, can still be in somewhere maybe on the lunar subterranean for some really good experience later on, maybe. At least that's what people hope for. And I hope for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Xenocat is really prioritizing information. We saw earlier in the Waterfall Cave when that Lunar Sparkle came out, and Xenocat waited until seeing which of the lunar bosses was there, so that they knew which one they wouldn't see in the remainder of the seed. And that was some good information. And now getting some additional information as to which one of those fights with that particular sprite they would see there. And so, yeah, just prioritizing getting that little bit of information to help with fights down the road. So I think that's a real heads-up play.
I see something mentioned in chat is Let's Go Ty. there's actually a bit of a difference in these bracket stages. There will be no more ties. If there is a tie, another race will have to be scheduled to determine a winner. For that particular game.
But doesn't that just mean more free enterprise for us all to enjoy?
Well, it does, but I think that makes it a little harder on the admins. And our admins do enough work as it is. And we're getting a Fabul check from Rex here. Trying to hope that the pan's not here and you regret it. Well, it's like we got an antlion that came out of his cave.
Our runners have already gone through the Sylph Cave, and that's going to activate the key item check in Fabul from Yang's wife. So now they're kind of consolidating these two checks in one. With an early magma key like this, it's really hard to hope for that pan dream and just one trip to Fabul throughout the seed. But you do eliminate the possibility of going there 3 times. So, yeah.
I mean, you always hope for that pan.
Absolutely. That's great.
But let's see what the king gives us this time. And
so much talk about this pan.
There comes the question: do you just go down, talk to Yang, and get it done at one time, or do you wait?
In this situation, either way, you're going to have 2 trips to Fabul. So I think this makes sense. Ooh, a rat tail. That's interesting too. Once we find that hook. But now I like going right back to Sylph Cave, bonk Yang on the head with that frying pan, because the Sylphs will give a potential key item right there. Then you could go right back to Fabul and return the pan for yet another key item check. That's 2 more free key item checks without having to fight another battle.
Yeah, and it kind of puts you in the same area as Ordeals, which would probably be the next area that our runners would want to go, just to get some levels. But it looks like Rex is going there right now.
That's the other option. Like, since you're already in the neighborhood of Ordeals, like you mentioned, might as well go ahead and do this right now. Like, I don't think either choice is wrong, because I think our runners are going to want to do Mount Ordeals, both for those levels, as you mentioned, and the fact that we still have those boss hunts out there. And there's 3 potential, or not potential, 3 actual bosses up at the top of Mount Ordeals. So you're going to want to prioritize places with those bosses until all of them are off your list.
Yeah, I think the one downside to going to bonk Yang with the pan is that you have to walk all over those damage tiles and bring yourself down to 1 HP. So Rex going to Ordeals is probably hoping to maybe have like the Twin Harping combination with that. But we have some dimps up here on Fabul.
We're seeing another one of the quote-unquote free fights getting off of our list early. And you'd rather see fights like this in difficult spots on the moon when you're a runner, and not here in the first fight on Mount Ordeals, which is usually a pretty easy fight in general.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it is the lowest physical hitting spot in the game.
Yeah, Mylon and friends, not very strong.
No. But you stick them elsewhere, and that's a different story. Just make sure you take out the ghouls before you take out Mylon.
Oh yeah, they like to party when their boss is not around. So yeah, we're seeing some divergence here. Xenocat decides that they want to go and do that pan sequence right now, whereas Rexbanner heading over right away to Mount Ordeals. So we'll see if either of these checks point Xenocat in a different direction than where Rexbanner is heading right now.
I wonder if Rex is thinking about going into Baron after this and picking up that Tell with his full spell list. Because that's the other thing that Ordeals does for you, is not only does it give you Paladin Cecil, but it unlocks all of Tella's spells.
Yeah, that's a good point. And with Tella sitting in the Baron Inn, and getting these extra levels might be what's needed in order to beat the fight in the Baron Inn, but it looks like Rexbanner, looking for an encounter, is turning on random encounters. Maybe wants to do a little bit of a grind before going into the second fight here. Finds the Lilith, one of the better fights to find when you're grinding on Mount Ordeals.
I wonder if Palom is close enough to getting Virus and trying to get enough experience to get that Quack Kid one more level just to get Virus.
It looks like that might be exactly what was going on there, as Palom did learn Virus in that fight. So being heads up with where you are with experience levels can really pay off. And it didn't take Rex very long at all to find that encounter to get the Virus. So pretty nice.
This next spot we have Vanilla.
Yeah, Vanilla Mylon Z here. Not a particularly scary fight here for this team, especially with a Fireclaw in the inventory.
Yeah, Fireclaw and Fire 2 with Palom is going to make quick work of, but using the Virus instead. But this also gives us information that, at least for Rex, he knows that is Mylon and friends at Dwarf 1, because he did check that.
Again, some good pieces of knowledge. Our runners really being able to have a little bit of foreknowledge for some fights coming up. And Mylon Z is down on Rexbanner's side, so just one more boss away from completing Mount Ordeals.
It looks like during the Chromo phase, deciding to manage a bit of his inventory. Not a bad idea. We see a lot of experienced runners doing that, because there's really not much else you can do at that point, besides wait.
It does look like from that pan, we did get the Legend Sword from Xenocat's side. So very useful item there, because we do have objective number 1. It's not quite the same as it was in the Swiss rounds. This is actually Classic Forge now, so you're not going to be getting an Excalibur for forging the crystal now.
Nope. It takes the Excalibur and places it somewhere in the key item pool somewhere. It looks like we have some D-Lunars on Xenocat's side of the Baron Inn 1 fight. Pretty quick fight, as there's about total 400 HP here, so down and out they go. And Mom Bomb for Rex.
Kind of an annoying place to find Mom Bomb, as this is a very low HP spot, but Mom Bomb is always given a big buffer in HP, so really pays to wait until the explode to the small bombs to easily wipe out this fight.
And Rex is through ordeals and has the Darkness Crystal.
Darkness Crystal, always huge. You get another character check right on the moon, you get another gated shop check on the moon, and there's so many bosses and key item checks on the moon when you're able to take them on.
That is very true. But that gated character spot, that could be a spicy check, because you never know who's going to be there. We know that we're still on the distinct 10, so there's 2 people taking a vacation somewhere, but who those 2 people are, we don't know yet.
This Dark Elf, Dark Dragon form proving to be a little bit more difficult for Xenocat than they would have hoped. Hopefully they'll be able to recover in time to finish off this dragon. Getting the stop is going to be huge here.
Yeah, because the thing with Dark Elf in his dragon form, he no longer has the boss bit, so he is susceptible to stop and weak. So heads up play by Xenocat by cast and stop to minimize the amount of damage that Dark Elf is doing with that dragon breath.
And then able to do some decent damage with the dancing dagger to follow that up. So in much better shape now. than at the beginning of this dragon form. So hopefully that's going to be a win for Xenocat. It looks like they've got it in pretty good hands, while Rexbanner is raising the big whale.
Probably hoping to check that one of the last gated item shops. We still have the one sitting there at Eblin, but hoping for a good other character. This party is decent, but can always use improvements.
Getting the package as well as Tella for completing the Baron Inn. And so now they'll be able to have another character check in Mist if you're willing to sit through some long cutscenes.
Yeah, and there's also a boss at the end of the package too.
If that could be where Ashura is hidden, then that could be somebody taking a gamble on that could really be rewarded. But like I said, it is long cutscenes. You see, Cure 3s is the big reward in this shop on the moon. That's a pretty nice item.
Yeah, not something you hate to see, especially when your only white mage is Tella. Nothing too important there at the Mist Cave. Just an octopus.
Who looks like the character in Mist was another Edward. Not something Xenocat was interested in at this time. So we're not going to be able to know who the boss is in this unless it becomes very desperate near the end of this seed.
Yeah, but it's another character in the team, right? So you could have 4 characters instead of just the 3 you have.
I mean, that is nice, but I don't think it's nice enough to wait through those 2 long cutscenes. But I think going up to the moon and collecting Edge, that's worth it.
Oh, yes, definitely worth it. Edge, the man of many talents, can steal just about anything that you'd need with that sneak. Being able to sneak sirens, Bacchus, silk webs.
Ooh, this is an interesting play from Rexbanner too. With that one siren that we've got in our inventory, I think Rex is going to take a grind fight here on the moon.
That or could be checking the Murasame altar. I know some people like to, when they're on a dual boss hunt, even though they know where one is, will still check the top 2 boss spots on the moon, as they're pretty quick to check.
Either way, it's an interesting strategy, and if it pays off, that could be very big.
We got Xenocat going up for deals, fighting the Dimps, and what's going to be at the Murasame altar here?
Ooh. Oh, yeah, not really ready to take on that fight right now. But again, that's additional knowledge that the runner has. In this case, Rexbanner getting that.
Yeah, I don't think... Oh, I do see Thor Rages in his inventory, but I don't think he's going to try the Thunderstruck. I think you need a full 5-party team to do that.
It's like Rexbanner also wants to peek in the Cave Bahamut, see if this is a boss that he's going to be able to take on at this point as well. Also taking the opportunity to do a little bit more looting here.
Well, I mean, the moon is one of the places that you don't really see anybody loot, and I think it's weighted quite high in T-Pro in general, so saving looting for some later locations. I mean, this is still only 30 minutes in. That's still within a decent time range to loot.
Rexbanner finding a very appropriate lunar staff here. But I think that was Dark Knight Cecil. So yeah. I think what Rexbanner is going to do is see if, by lowering the battle speed all the way, trying to get in a position where Edward can hide before the first dark wave.
Yeah, you need an RA1 Edward to do it and a low battle speed. He set it down to 6. Can he get that hide action off to get through this fight?
If he can, that would be huge. Oh, that might have been a... Oh, I saw that. There was a little bit of a shuffle on the input that might have cost him.
Yeah, and it looks like the edge is still a little too fast just to jump in queue there. Will he attempt it again? Looks like it. Or at least
Or
going in to get the loot.
yeah, there was a light sword and a lunar staff. Just wants that light sword. If he finds Cecil, that's a very good weapon for Cecil. But yeah, that's a tough trick to pull off. So if he doesn't feel the confident with what the agility levels on his team and equipment can give him, then it's probably best to just not beat your head against it over and over again. Go back and do checks that you know you can do right now.
Right, and that edge is pivotal as he's got a lot of not so much edge equipment with the swords, but more of ammunition with that dart ability.
Absolutely. Once again, the versatility of Edge as the ninja, being able to dart, being able to use ninja magic, being able to fight, being able to steal, just so much that this guy can do.
Already having a boomerang in the inventory to back row Edge, as that is one of the only ways you can back row him was either with a boomerang or a full moon.
Yeah, and to explain what that means, in Final Fantasy IV, there are certain weapons that are considered back row weapons. These boomerangs are among them. Also, bow and arrows, harps, the dwarf axe. So if you equip somebody with them, it sets this bit on the character that says you can do the same damage from the back row. Now, when you unequip it, the game just doesn't remove it. So they can do whatever weapon you equip on them after that, they can still deal full damage from the back row. This works in vanilla Final Fantasy IV as well as Free Enterprise, and it's something to really keep in mind when deciding whether or not which characters to put in the front and the back row.
Right, and not only does it help with which row they're in, but it also helps with the enemy, as the enemy itself, as most people may not realize, have front and back rows. So your front row Edge will still be doing full damage to an enemy that's considered to be in the back row.
And for boss formations, it really comes into play with fights like CPU, where you're really going to want to do most of your damage to that back row CPU orb rather than the attacker orb in the front. And so having characters that have that back row glitch on is very important. Or at least beneficial to get through the fight faster.
Right, because doing full damage is always better than half damage.
Absolutely. And while our runners are going over some places that we've already seen, I'd also like to take a moment to thank the rest of our Restream team today. We have Asuka on the Restream itself and Aegis on the tracking, and without the two of them, we don't have a show. Also, I'd like to thank our friends over at RPG Limit Break. Thank you for being wonderful partners through this event, and it's always a pleasure to be showcased on RPG Limit Break itself.
So, Rex, a question for you. Where do you hope this Azura is going to be?
It's kind of tough because I think, like, the problem is, since you only have to do 4 out of 5, like, if I pick, like, the real saucy spots, we're probably just not going to see it. Like, if I want Ashura to be on Giant or the boss in the package thing like that, we probably just won't see it. And I don't know how fun that is. So I'd rather go someplace like the D-Lunars spot on the bottom of the moon, because that's a pretty tough spot. A lot of HP. Yeah. But, like, I don't think Ashura is a particularly scary fight either, so
No.
I think our runners won't have too much trouble no matter where she is.
Yeah, I think, as I know chat probably hopes, is that we've seen it in the past. It's one of those edge case situations where the Giants are being hard required because not only the boss is there, but Demist is there as well.
Yeah.
You know, we all know what chat wants.
It would be amazing to see something like that, without a doubt, but those seeds are few and far between. I just want to see something like like personally, my favorite fight in Free Enterprise is the Alt Gauntlet, and so I always want to see that in a really trolly spot and have that be something that's required. Like maybe the hook is behind that.
Oh, but the old gauntlet at either the Ogo Pogo spot, or even some would say even worse, the not White Spear, Crystal Sword Altar.
I mean, most of the lunar spots are pretty brutal spots for the Alt Gauntlet. I think the Giant is a sneaky, difficult Alt Gauntlet as well. And if we had one of those where it's Alt Gauntlet, Demist, Guarding Hook, where Pink Tail and then the Rat Tail leads to Adamant or something like that, it's still some way to make the Giant hard required. We think about all these possible different situations when we're doing commentary or watching races, and those things are fun. But it's also fun to see what the racers do with what's actually put in front of them too. You see Rexbanner taking advantage of that dwarven pot. When you don't have as much money to spend on things like cabins and everything, you see people run to that pot a lot more often now.
Yeah, that gives you a full heal. And here's something for people in general. There's actually a second pot in the overworld in Dampian. For those of you that didn't know, it's a bit of a longer trek to get to, but it's there.
There's a third on the moon in the Lunar Palace as well. So
the one on the Lunar Palace is actually a little bit special, as the left side refills HP. And the right side fills MP.
But when you're on the moon, it's usually faster to just go in the Lunar Whale and take advantage of the inn that's in there as well. But there are places, and knowing the different places and different bosses that full or heal you to full HP and MP is good to know. We already mentioned Kabul, but the Vanilla Rubicante spot's another place, the Vanilla Element spot in the Giant, and Xeramus itself are places where you get a free heal.
Always keeping those in mind to try and save yourself some of that, expensive camping gear, and know when to possibly knock out your anchor so they don't get extra levels.
Yeah, with agility anchoring, sometimes you want your character in the middle position to have a very specific amount of agility, and you just don't want them to gain any more levels for fear of knocking that out of whack.
Yeah, so we have Rex taking on the Dwarf 1 fight with the Mylon and friends, getting all the friends down, and it's just Mylon. Where Xeno is going back to Fabula and doing some shopping.
Yeah, Xenocat might have remembered seeing that longsword in that shop before, and now that Edge is on the team, they want to know that they can get Edge as powerful as possible, and longswords are a very good weapon for Edge.
Yeah, that's pretty much in most cases like an end game weapon for Edge. You'll love to see the Hanzo steals and the ninjas, but he can do just as well with the longswords.
Rexbanner getting a character here, getting Sid, and there goes Edward.
Hi, Edward.
And then the second fight here being Officer and 3 soldiers. This is the Kaipo Inn fight. This is not a scary fight in this spot at all. You don't even need to use an hourglass or anything. Just knock out those 3 soldiers and the officer will run away. If you want to get some extra experience, you could try killing the officer as well. But that depends on your priority at that time.
Yeah, in this particular spot doesn't give out too much experience, so is it really worth taking out the officer? But having Quack Kid cast Quake takes out the officer. And we get to see what Luca has around her neck. What jewelry does she have? And pretty much at this point, besides, some of the other gating key items, where do we go next? We have so much available to us at this point. Got the Fame Arch, got Keyless Tower, we've got all of the moon. Where do we go?
Seal Cave is open to us. We've got the Luca key as well. So that's there. And I don't believe, Twin Harp, I think is probably where we're going to go.
Yep. I
But it's
think
also
that
worth, yeah. It's also worth noting Rexbanner hasn't done that pan sequence yet either. So, but not going to do it now. Probably beelining it over to Cave Magnus is my guess.
Yeah, probably wanted to do maybe things he's behind because of the wipe at the DKC, and just, I've got this key item, I gotta follow my objectives, do my freebies, just go. Or may have forgotten about the pan.
That's
Who
a
knows?
possibility. You know, you're balancing so many things when you're racing these seeds, and it's really easy to miss something like that. I think the classic one, yeah. Well, I think the classic one that most runners run into is defeating D-Mist and forgetting to go back to Mist Town. And so there's just so many places to check and so many priorities, and you've got your own routing in your head that you want to go, and then you get an item, and it's like, oh, that means I should go here instead. It's a lot to manage, and so if somebody does forget that, I don't blame them. But it might be that Rexbanner is also thinking, based on what you said, if he feels like he's behind, he's just going to gamble that there isn't anything important behind that, and unfortunately, that's where the Legend Sword came from. So that could end up biting Rexbanner, but it depends also on where the adamant is, because if that adamant's going to be the one that's the hardest to get and the other 4 objectives are easier to complete, then this could be a boon for Rexbanner as well.
Yeah, and no, speaking of the D-Mist, like you were mentioning, it's a lot to keep in. Like, if you stick D-Mist at the 2nd spot in Ordeals,
yeah,
you got another fight and a key item that come at you, and you're like, you totally forget about it, and then you regret everything when it's required. Rex actually doing some looting here in Cave Magnus and finds a longsword and a Gungnir spear. So a decent weapon and a decent dart too. But as we have one of our favorite things here in Free Enterprise here, we randomize the characters, we randomize the bosses where they are. Something we do special here is we've actually changed the music that Edward plays here to break the spell. So get your harps out there. After this cutscene, we're gonna have DJ Spoony B playing us a tune. Is there any tunes that you hope to hear, Rex?
Well, based on what we said earlier, probably Dancing Mad.
Dancing Mad's a good one. I always like to hear something new. There's such a wide variety. I think it's over 240 different songs, I want to say. So there's a huge pool of songs in there.
All right, well, we'll be a little bit quiet so that you all can enjoy the music.
Yep.
Wow, that is a game that has such a great soundtrack. Chrono Trigger and the Robo theme, such a great harp song.
Oh yeah, and as well we were being quiet, it looks like Xenocat ended up ditching Edge. Meanwhile, Rex found the Pinktail. I wonder if it was a misclick, maybe? Hard to say.
Yeah, I've been kind of watching Xenocat's screen. There was a wipe on this fight the first time through. I'm not quite sure what's happening over here, but yeah, we saw this was the second time through. They decided to ditch Edge for Sid, and well, we got through the fight there. So, but it seems weird after going and investing in a long sword, to then just throw away the ninja. So that might be something to ask Xenocat in the interview afterwards.
Yeah, I wonder if what his what their thought process is let me get through the fight, see if it's required, and if it is, maybe I have to do it again so I can keep my edge. But it's gonna find out that it is the twin harp, and it is gating it is what we call the dirty duo, with it gating the Pinktail as well.
And now Rexbanner is on that path here for the pan, so that's going to be good. Going to be rewarded with the Legend Sword, and I believe the other item was an Excalibur, so we'll see.
Yeah, so that's one objective for Rex done. Going to be 2 here once he gets that Legend Sword. No, we haven't found the adamant yet. Never mind.
Yeah, we're missing the adamant. We're also missing the hook to complete the Peaktail one. So we're still a ways away on all of those. So
I'm just off my game tonight.
That's okay. Rexbanner putting off the Sheila 2 check, so still not getting the Legend Sword into his inventory. It looks like Xenocat might be heading back to the moon after buying some more Sirens.
I wonder if he's going to be doing some grinding. He's only at 9 key items, though.
Yeah. Well, they are going over to the Cave Bahamut. Might be wanting to try that Eddie strat one more time on the ditching it. That might be the reason for wanting Sid in the team. I don't know about the reason for getting rid of Edge still, but this does put a better situation agility-wise to set up for this particular strategy to avoid and get past this. And if this is the 10th key item, then Xenocat's ready for double experience afterwards. Meanwhile, Rexbanner looks like he's ready to go on and take on the bosses down in the Feymarch, or probably at least the Baron Guards fight.
And depending on which fight is in the Leviathan spot, could be Ruby, which wouldn't be too bad. I mean, the magic is kind of nice there, but having the Ice Claw in the inventory can really make Ruby a little less nasty.
Still not able to get it, lowering the battle speed all the way to 6, and gonna try one more time, it looks like. You see Rexbanner using the Hourglass 2s to stop those Baron guards, making them basically free at this point. Looks like going to use Berserk to have Edge do as much damage as possible to him in a short amount of time. The other option would be try to hit like a Fatal or a Stone spell from Tella, but his magic is not very good. And it looks like we got there. Edge is hidden.
Ooh.
I mean, Edward. I'm talking to Edge on the other side. Edward over here. Well played by Xenocat.
Yeah. We'll see if this ends up paying out for them. Because, someday we'll find out about justice.
Eventually.
Have you found the justice yet?
Not yet. But then I am only in my early 40s. And that's the hook. That is a huge find for Xenocat.
Oh! Wow, that... Oof. That's going to be a tough one to get through.
Yeah, Rexbanner has ditched his Edward, so he doesn't have that trick available to him. So the other way to get through that fight is lots and lots of hit points.
There are two characters on Rex's team that have lots and lots of hit points when they get levels. Oh.
That's true. And if you can bolster that a bit with the Cure 3s that you can buy in the Moon Shop in this seed, as well as Tella can cast Cure 4s once, but he's probably dead before you want to use it, so that's not going to help too much.
No, because I think the first wave will take out Tella, because that wave does anywhere between 1100 to 1300 damage. And we get to see...
Yeah, having not completed the Twin Harp yet, only has the Rat Tail, but we're going to see it's an Earth Crystal, so we still have a chain to follow here. And now Xenocat can route the Cave Magnus, Tower of Zot all in one, and that's always some really nice routing to be able to get together.
Yeah, looks like it was a leg day for Leviathan Spot.
I mean, I don't think there's a lot of bosses that are easy at that spot. That's one of the more difficult boss spots, that Leviathan spot.
Yeah, because it has one of the highest attack, and so it hits hard.
It does.
Even though in the vanilla game, Leviathan doesn't actually physically hit you, why it has a high attack doesn't make sense.
That's one thing that I tend to tell people who are new to it. If the vanilla spot, the boss there does not have any physical attacks, chances are it's got a very high attack spot. It happens there. It happens at Bahamut. It happens with King Queen Evelyn. It happens at CPU. Like, all of those spots don't have any physical attacks, and there are very strong physical bosses.
And the same thing goes for magic. If the boss uses magic, it's actually pretty low. Except for one situation, and that's Ogo Spot, but,
Well, it also kind of matters with, like, what kind of magic they do. Like, the Baron Guard spot has a pretty high magic attack for where it's at, but that's so that it can try to get those counter status effects to actually hit. So, like, damage-dealing magic is one thing, but status magic is another in this game, so...
Yeah.
So Xenocat has a second chance for an edge here, so this is really interesting, too.
Who do you ditch to get that?
Edward's done his job.
Yes, Edward, it's time for you to take a break. You did your work. You got through Dark Knight's Hustle for us. Take a nap in your bed.
Ooh, Tower Key at the bottom of Sealed Cave for Rexbanner. That's a pretty nice pickup, too. That makes the tower a lot more lucrative, having two potential key item checks instead of just one.
And we'll see what the boss is here at the sealed cave.
Ooh, Ogopogo. That's kind of a rude spot for Ogopogo, too.
Yeah, as we were speaking about the Ogo spot, Ogo opens up and knocks you down to half your max health right off the bat. Will hit you twice and then knock you down another quarter health and just repeat that over and over again. So it is predictable. Just are you able to out heal the amount of damage he's doing to you is the question.
Xenocat now going to follow Rexbanner's earlier play and head over to Cave Magnus. While Rexbanner is still fighting this Ogopogo.
Yeah, it looks like Rex maybe just darting everything, darting the spoon, darting the kitchen sink, trying to do as much damage as possible.
I think that's smart because this is tough, and you can see the characters are getting knocked down and down and down. Here comes the shuriken. Is that going to be enough?
Well, this big wave's only going to do a quarter of... Oh, nope. Looks like it's a full half. We hope it's enough.
Not quite enough yet.
We'll at least get one more swing in.
Oh, no. Yeah, that was a tough fight for Rexbanner there.
Oof. Will he attempt it again, knowing what's there?
It's really tough to want to not try it because you know that tower key is sitting there, and it's like you want to have that in your hand before you go to tower.
Yep.
But I think we'll be quiet a little bit as we get the reprise of DJ Spoony B's Rockin' Tunes. I'll tell you, whenever I hear Chrono Trigger music from the Twin Harp, and I hear it quite a bit of times, there's a lot of them here in Free Enterprise, but it always makes me smile. Such a great soundtrack, such a great rendition of Robo's theme there. Glad to hear it again. Rexbanner hammering at it with a little bit of a different strategy here this time around, and able to get through the Ogopogo at the end there. So very well played by Rexbanner. Gets that tower key, and we'll see where he decides to go next. And we'll see if Xenocat rushes to turn in that pink tail.
Yeah, there's actually he didn't heal up before the last fight, so this time he used a tent before taking on the fight. So Tella actually had MP.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Those utility spells, and even you can't get a ton of healing out of them, but it was just enough to get through that fight. So very well played there by Rexbanner.
Yep. Looks like he's going to be warping out of here real quick with the Quack Kid.
And more inventory management over on Xenocat's side.
Yep, gotta keep that under wraps. Might be going to check the treasury, so we may get a rating. There's a hope and a prayer.
Yeah, I think you might be right there, Tibble.
All right, everybody's favorite game. We get to rate that treasury.
Yeah, so everybody in chat, tell us what you would say out of 10 out of this treasury. Ninja had the best so far. Sork Robe's nice. There's some Hanzo Steel and Zeus Gauntlet.
Bonk Staff.
Oh, Curse Ring's huge.
Moonveil.
Bacchus.
Can we almost say like this is an edge out of 10? I mean, we've got Fake Hanzo, we've got Zeus Gauntlet, we've got Gungnir, we've got Moonveil. Like, yeah, that's a pretty good treasury.
6s, 7s, 8s, 9 out of 10 there. I think 7 or 8 out of 10 seems to be about right. I think I would be in that similar ballpark for that one. Getting that Murasame, getting that Zeus Gauntlet, getting that Moonveil, and the Curse Ring. Those are all very, very, very nice.
Oh yeah, Curse Ring is super expensive nowadays, being at a whopping 25,000 for that thing. Do you want to spend that much money on it?
Yes. It's that good. Like I want to have one in my inventory. So yes, I do want to spend that on it.
It's one of those things of in this game's economy. Keyless Tower, or not Keyed Tower from Rex pays off with Azure at the top of tower.
That is objective number 5 that Rexbanner has within his sights right now, and I don't think this is going to be particularly difficult for him either.
No, we're kind of in a halfway no mode so far. We just need to know where the Baron key is, or Adamant.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And we're getting a couple of key item checks close to each other right now, as we're going to see one from the Tower of Zot on Xenocat's side, and 2 checks, both this Ashura fight and the tower key check. So hopefully one of those 2 of them are going to be found for our runner's sakes. Though, even though if either of them find it, they don't have the full like, if Rex finds it, still lacking that hook to complete the pink tail turn-in.
Yep. But we got a free fight on Xenocat's side, as it's just a water hag in the blue robe. No triple blue robe this time.
Yeah, the water hag, just like in the vanilla game, where Edward has to fight it solo, you hit it 3 times, it says ARG and goes away. You don't have to deal much damage to it, you just have to hit it. And Xenocat able to get that done without any issues. But we're going to get a couple character checks. I don't know what characters Xenocat would want at this point, but we've seen Xenocat be a little bit fluid with the character choices that edge still is just bonkers that they were able to find another edge to replace it later. That was awesome.
Yeah, talk about the luck on that one. We just see a dupe twin here. I would think the only thing that they would want would maybe be a foo. Not Iridia though.
Yeah, I think we've already got characters that are decent for in anchor, and base level Rydia is a great anchor, but we just don't need her.
No, we've got a curse ring, so even
Yeah.
with the base level Iridia, we really don't need her.
What we do have is another boss fight. And that's, we sometimes refer to this as French vanilla, as it's a boss that is normally found in this location, but not in this spot. So, like the Mega Sisters would normally be where we fought the Water Hag earlier, but here they are in the Valveless spot.
Yeah, and unfortunately the magic is a bit rough here, so hopefully Xenocat can, well, just quack it away, it looks like.
Yeah, luckily Quake is strong.
And we're going to get a double key item check, one from Xenocat and one from Rexbanner. Just a defense sword for Rex.
We haven't seen a Cecil or a Kane would be able to use it. I think the defense sword can be darted, though. Somebody could correct me if that's wrong.
I think we saw a Kane and Kaipo in the bed.
Oh, okay, there's that then. Ooh, there's the pass for Xenocat. That is the shortcut to Zeramus, but it isn't the Adamant or the Baron Key that we're really looking for right now.
No, it is not, and we're getting a save from Rex going down. Still at least two nasty bosses to show up in this cannon room.
Ooh, I think Xenocat's going to follow Rexbanner now as they are going to the sealed cave, which we know will lead to the tower key. But the big question is Rexbanner going to be able to take on that Dark Knight Cecil anytime soon, or are they going to be able to complete everything without needing that hook?
Yeah, with knowing that Earth Crystal does not lead to Adamant, hook not necessarily required. Still that forge objective out there.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing that plays in Rexbanner's favor right now. Because if that ended up being, well, it still could be a benefit depending on how long it takes to find the Baron Key, to find the Adamant. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes.
Yeah, if the Baron Key leads into Adamant, well,
yeah, that's a whole other situation.
Yeah. Still a lot of checks left.
Yeah, we haven't seen any of the lunar subterranean checks yet. We still haven't found Demas, which is a check. And there's that Rubicante at the Leviathan spot, which is going to loom large for a while, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I don't think anybody wants to fight Ruby there. If Ruby was over in the Azura spot, no. That one would be faded, because Ruby is one of those fights you tend to fade for a while just because of the counter fires that Ruby does, as well as the glare.
That's the Baron Key.
Oh, I'm doing it again. I need to take off this hat. I swear.
This has been a really fun race.
Oh, yeah. Spicy plays by both our racers.
And now Xenocat has to go through that Pogo fight, which we knew caused Rexbanner some troubles. Hopefully they'll have a little bit easier go of it, but this is not an easy fight, as we mentioned before.
No, it is not, especially when all of your healing magic is from just Tella and being a chemist with, Cure 2s, maybe Cure 3s if you have them. But something interesting what Xenocat looks to be doing, popped a Star Veil up on Palom.
Yeah, I think that's a heads-up play. Ogopogo gets really angry when you target it with damage-dealing magics and has some nasty counterattacks. However, in Final Fantasy 4, whenever you reflect a spell off of a wall, it doesn't trigger any counterattacks. So this is a way to get decent magic like a virus onto Ogopogo without having to endure the nasty counterattacks. So that's just a smart way to deal more damage.
Yeah, because I think with just regular magic, it is a blaze counter, which does 25% of your max HP. You really have to be worried about. A lot of the lunar bosses have counter mechanics with them with summons, but some have counters with just spells.
And at least one has a counter from fighting. So it's all of that is scary. And now Rexbanner is going to be able to take on this Calibrator that we saw at the very beginning of the game and be able to complete objective number 4 and be just one objective away from go mode.
And I wonder if we'll see Xenocat go straight up the tower, or will they still fade it? I doubt they'll fade the tower with having the key. The keyless tower is something you kind of try not to fade because it sometimes has progression. But having that tower key just adds more to go here now.
I tend to agree with you that when you've got the tower key, you just want to complete the tower. So for Xenocat's sake, I hope they do. That's going to put Xenocat in the driver's seat. Going to be able to complete basically everything here.
And like you mentioned, the only thing that really can save Rex is if the Adamant's here and he remembers about the pan. He has not done his pan check, so he still doesn't have the legend sword.
Right. And hopefully that's something that he doesn't forget, because that's huge.
But getting through the orbs without a problem, just quaking away. They may look like they're flying, but they're really not. And we have a white mage finally, as in Porum. Will Rex keep Porum? No.
Not really a surprise there.
Without the as one of the flags that's been on in this tournament, the no EXP boost. So characters that are 5 levels behind the mean will EXP. So a little bit harder for that Porum to catch up.
Now Xenocat's going to be very happy to find Ashura up here.
Just a Gungnir Spear. But we'll end up checking the Baron basement.
Another potential key item behind the Odin fight, or the Odin spot in the basement. We don't know what boss is there, but we know it's not Odin because we saw Odin earlier in the scene.
Yeah, Odin's up there on the moon. Took a bit of a vacation.
Yeah, up there sitting where Pale Dim would in the vanilla game.
Now it'd be funny if Pale Dim was sitting down here. Nope,
no, this is the alt gauntlet. Now, this is one of the more interesting spots to find the alt gauntlet because, like, in general, it takes it random encounters from wherever the dungeon is, but like the dungeons that are around here or the overworld around here are so much lower level than the Odin fight is in general, so we take it but from a similar place, which is the Fame Arch. So we're going to see a lot of summoners here.
Yep. They're going to be summoning things like imps and who else? I don't think I've ever fought an alt gauntlet at the Odin spot.
I believe the next one is going to be a summoner with a rock moth. Yep. Then, ooh, is it Huge Naga after that, and then Arachne, and then Clapper? That might be the order. I might be getting it wrong, but I think that's it.
You really do like this alt gauntlet, don't you?
Well, I mean, okay, self-promotion time. I came up with the idea for it, so I do love it. It was the Huge Naga. I wasn't sure if it was Huge Naga or Rock Naga, but
I mean, I'd say take pride in it. It's actually a really interesting concept to change up the gauntlet itself, rather than having the same fights over and over again. You get a little bit extra spice in your seed.
I like it that it puts a huge element of the vanilla game back into play, which are those random encounters and knowing how to deal with them. So I like that part of it too. Oh, here's the Clapper. Okay, so it wasn't Arachne, then Clapper. Maybe there's not an Arachne here.
That's right. The summoned Clapper is not flying. It's the regular Clapper that's considered flying. Clappers are one of the weirder encounters.
They are very dangerous as well at these medium levels. Oh, it's just a solo Clapper. So yeah, no Arachne summon here. That must be one of the Feymarch bosses where it's at. So
Yeah, I think that's the Leviathan spot that has the Arachne in it. But Rex getting through this gauntlet, showing it who's boss.
you see how nasty that blitz is from the Clapper, dealing 1,200 damage to Yang there. That is a scary attack. That's why these Clappers are quite dangerous.
Yeah, because the blitz does, if I remember correctly, half of your max HP regardless of your HP total. So it's always going to be half. So it always hits hard.
But Xenocat going to be getting the Baron key from completing this tower key check. Rexbanner gets a very good weapon for Edge, but Rex really needed to get. Yeah, Rex really needed to see the adamant there. And then, of course, go and do the Sheila 2 to get the Legend Sword.
Oh, no. Well, we are in no mode, and quote-unquote Xenocat is in go mode once they finish Baron and turn in the pink tail. Just need to get some levels.
Rexbanner is going to have to collect that. It looks like he's on his way to Fabul. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Get that Legend Sword in your inventory, and then hopefully whatever check he decides to do on the moon, hopefully that's where he goes next. Goes on the moon and finds that adamant soon. That's going to be what he needs to do. Even so, it's going to be tough to catch up to Xenocat right now. That play to get the to defeat that Dark Knight Cecil for the hook is really the difference in this race so far.
Yeah, that is, and having the pass as well is also huge, because you don't have to walk down all of the LST to get to Zeromus. We have a nice little shortcut in Troya that brings you straight to Zeromus, but it requires the pass.
I like this from Xenocat too. Since they're already in the underground and have those sirens to do the egg grind, do it right now while you're already here, before going back up to the overworld to defeat that Calbrena. Like, I assume at this point, by this play, that Xenocat remembers that the Calbrena is in the vanilla Baigan position remembers that they have that Hook and Pinktail in the inventory, knows that they are in go mode, so doing the grinding right now really heads up, really like this play from Xenocat.
Rex checking a bunch of shops. I wonder what he's looking for.
Was it item shops or equipment shops? I didn't see that.
He's been looking at equipment shops.
It might be a cursed ring, because Rex didn't get that cursed ring from the Earth Crystal that we saw on Xenocat's side.
Maybe hoping to lower his agility so he might be able to get through that DKC fight.
I'm looking for some heal potions and some hourglass tubes. Interesting.
It's one of, you see heal potions. A lot of people have been picking up some of those to try and combat finding a Val with the stone that she cast on everybody. You know, the 3-stage petrify.
Sure.
Being able to use an item for heal instead of using 20 MP out of your 90 kind of saves you a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that. Also, if you had a nasty dark imp and the wrong character gets pigified, that could be useful there too. So
we've already seen the dark elf, so
yeah.
I think the main concern is probably either Val or even after taking care of Golbez.
But it looks like it was the item and weapon shops, so it might not be that cursed ring, but something else that Rex is looking for specifically. There's silk webs, a very useful item to have in your inventory, especially for the Zeramus fight. But some nasty boss fights it could be really useful for as well. One use of it is a double dose of slow.
Yeah, and Xenocat's still doing their grinding of eggs, just tented up. For doing some more. Probably ran out of MP on the Quack Kid, so using a tent, or looks like cabin actually, to get everybody back up.
This is kind of the luxury of using Sid as the anchor. Sid doesn't get much agility in general, and the fact that Xenocat has both a Dwarf Axe and a Curse Ring in their inventory means that they can really manipulate exactly what Sid's agility is going to be and make it as good as possible while still having him be a big HP tank for the final fight. So that's just one advantage of having Sid in the party for that reason.
Rex actually going here into Cave of Value. Maybe looking to do some gold dragons, get some levels, maybe have Yang survive the DKC, because Yang's HP growth is quite good until he gets to around 6k, because then he doesn't get any more than that.
Could want to try to take out the Dark Knight Cecil too. We'll see. Well, that would be good, because then if he's able to do it, and would probably require some of those Gold Dragon grinds, then he'd be able to turn in that Pinktail and be at go mode. But it's still, that is a very difficult fight for the Dark Knight Cecil there.
Yeah, with how hard it hits, you'd want your Yang to be sitting safely at 5,000 health, to not have to try to heal any at all. But looks to be doing some Gold Dragons. Hella taking a nasty hit.
Yeah, these Gold Dragons hit hard.
Yeah, so it looks like what Rex is doing here is he's putting Tell in the center slot, so he gets an extra 25% accuracy bonus, so those weeks actually hit those Gold Dragons, so they get down to single HP. So anybody can actually take them out with just a simple hit. Also getting some life glitches off as well. Nice thing about the life glitches, when you use a life potion or life spell, you raise the person that you're reviving with X amount of times your vitality. Well, enemies in Final Fantasy have no vitality. I'll get back to that in a second as we get the Pinktail turning, and it's another Hanzo steal. Looks like Xenocat just completed that, and they may be going to go do Baron Castle. Back to the life glitching. Enemies have 0 HP, 0 vitality. So when you life glitch them, they immediately come back up and then die again. So you get double the amount of experience per kill. So instead of getting the normal 9,000 or 90,000 experience here, you actually get a lot more. So, question is, when does Rex think that he's going to have enough levels to actually take on the DKC? Because I wonder if that's what he's going to be doing.
At this point, I have to think that that's what the goal is here, but who knows when he's going to feel comfortable. And I think you're probably going to want to exit out and take a safety save before doing it as well, right?
Yeah, I would, because you're going to want to actually step into the Lunar Whale, get a full heal. Looked like you actually got some double life glitches out there with 240,000 experience.
Yeah, using the spells from Palom instead of an attack can allow a potential double life glitch, and that is huge.
Yep, which I did explain that.
Yeah.
So I think safely you'd want Yang to be in the 4,500, 5K range if you have a Cure 3. But we see Xenocat gets the crystal. Do they walk out or take on the castle and they just walk right out?
Just walking out, going to head probably right to Toria after this. Yeah, this is Xenocat's got their crystal, ready to go, did the grind. We're about to see a Xeranos fight.
Yeah, so as some of us may say, Rex is on the clock at this point. Getting some decent levels there.
Even if Rex goes to the deep Dark Knight Cecil fight right now, he's still, I think, pretty far behind Xenocat. It's going to be tough. Like, Rex is going to need Xenocat to do a wipe in order to survive this, I'm thinking, and I think that's going to be tough. This is like Rexbanner played really well. It was really being able to get through that Dark Knight Cecil fight early that propelled Xenocat into the lead, and they just didn't relinquish that lead throughout the rest of the seed.
No, they have not. And yeah, we see the save, dropping the battle speed. We don't have a, as some would say, a real white mage. We have a Tella. He's considered a white mage, but has that limited MP pool. So gonna be a little tricky here with just that 100 MP on Tella.
That is going to be the biggest challenge of this Xeranos fight, without a doubt. But having a couple real big HP tanks in Sid and Yang help out.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we do see Rex going down to take on this DKC. Meanwhile, I'm seeing in chat, I'm starting to see some of these weird flags with a Z on them. Do you know anything about these?
Yeah, it means it's time for us to ask the question, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
That's
it
right.
Is butt time. One of the things that is randomized in Free Enterprise is the sprite of the final form of Zeramus, because Zeramus is too big and too bad to put into the regular boss pool. So Zeramus is always the last fight, will always act the same, but will look different, and that is going to be quite a bit of fun as we find out what the form is once the crystal is used.
And Rex finding out the hook is behind DKC and immediately going to be exiting out.
Yeah, Rex now has everything that he needs to be in go mode, just needs to turn in that pink tail. But still, we're into Zomamus here from Dragon Quest IV.
Ooh. Man.
Excuse me. Dragon Quest 3, Dragon Warrior 3, whatever.
Okay, I was going to say, Dragon Quest and Dragon Warrior, it's one of those early ones where they kind of mess up the names a little bit here and there. Anytime I search up Dragon Warrior 4, I end up finding Dragon Quest 4 too. Yeah, we have Xenocat darting out that spoon, doing quad 9s. Looks like going to be doing some hybrid strats with reflecting nuke off the kid.
That is a way to just make it so that you've got the most powers possible coming out from your team. We see waiting for after the Big Bang to hit to revive Tella, so that probably to allow a Cure 4 to be used after that as well.
Yeah, because even at Tella's current HP total, he may survive a nerfed Big Bang, but you get a couple high rolls, and he would not survive.
Meanwhile, Rexbanner is turning in the pink tail right now. If he turns in that rat tail, I believe that's what gave us the pass. Or no, that was this gives the Earth Crystal,
yep,
which gives the pass.
Yep. But I don't think that you take that Earth Crystal and try and find the pass. You go straight down, make what some call the walk of shame by not having the pass.
You see Xenocat also utilizing as much darting as possible during this fight. Figures that's going to be the fastest way, since we didn't find like a lot of Bacchuses to get the Berserk, and we're prioritizing some other things with Tella in this fight, so not able to getting a lot of Berserking on the characters. With his 5 HP left, is finally getting the Zerking on edge there, so that's just, I think, good timing of this fight. Like, if you're a specific fight to be routing, I think that was a really heads-up way of doing it.
Edge darting actually does quite a lot of damage, and some would say almost more than just his regular attacks, because it's based off of his level and the attack of the weapon. So if you have high damage weapons like defense swords, Excals, the spoon, you're going to be doing more damage than he's going to be swinging for.
Yeah, the downside is when you're berserked, you end up getting more turns because you don't have to wait for your inputs and everything there. So both are ways to do a lot of damage, though.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trade-off.
Here comes some of the scary Big Bangs here now.
Yeah, I know Xenocat looked like they were trying to nerf it with a Thor Rage and gets the nerf off.
They got the nerf off, so that's very good. We're in Meteo phase.
Oh boy.
Oof.
Ooh, had some high rolls there, but gets a life off on Tella. If Tella can get this Cure 4 off before the Meteo phase, which he does, I think
that's a puny white magic stat that Tella has. So Yang's still in danger. Luckily, Sid has a lot of HP. Oh, Yang survived that.
Ella
And Tella
dodged it.
dodged.
This is one of those nail-biting moments.
We'll see if Cowan can survive till the nuke goes off. Oh no, here comes.
Oh, here comes the video.
Oh no!
Oh, there goes the Quack Kid.
Oh no!
Oh! Can tell it dodge.
Oh, that is
no.
tragic.
Oh no.
Wow, that was the most brutal Meteo phase I might have ever seen.
That is brutal to wipe in the Meteo phase. To be that close, because when Zeromus is throwing out the Meteos, it means that he has less than 12,000 HP left. So you know you're close.
So now with Xenocat's second attempt and Rexbanner's first, they are basically neck and neck going into Zeromus here. Wow, it is anyone's game.
It is very true. Anyone's game. I think Rex's edge is a little more decked out with double Masa. But it's a toss-up on who actually pulls through this.
I think Rex did a little bit more grinding. Well, except Rex doesn't have the Sid levels that Xenocat has. So
No,
this is
but
it's hard to tell what. Ooh, it could go either way.
yeah, the Sid on Rex's side has the Dwarf Axe and is low enough level to not have to have the Curse Ring, so won't have as
Ooh,
much
that's pretty nice.
stat reduction. So may not have the HP, but doesn't have the minus 15 to all stats that the Curse Ring does.
I mean, but the strategy that Xenocat was going with was to basically have Sid as the chemist, being able to throw potions to revive people, to keep Tella up, to keep healing and everything as necessary throughout the fight. And I don't think the lower HP total of Rex is going to make him be able to fulfill the role as well as Xenocat's can. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this goes on both runner sides.
Oh yeah, this is a race to the finish, as they would say, neck and neck.
Probably didn't want to see that counter nuke hit Tella, but we'll see. But yeah, ooh, that edge hits hard over on Rexbanner's side.
Yeah, I think Rex has double Masa and Power Shirt on that edge. Doesn't have the Zeus Gauntlet that Xenocat has. Oh man, if you wanted to,
we thought before.
Yep, and if you wanted to tune in to have a interesting finish, this is one. This is a. If this ends up being a tie, do we end up calling it a Rex special?
Possibly, but we're not quite to that level yet. But there is the potential now. Man, oh man.
I'm being yelled at in chat.
And the one interesting thing there you see over on Xenocat's screen, if you single target the Cure 4, even with a bad white magic stat that Tella has, it'll always full heal the Cure.
That's very true. So even having a will stat of 1 on a cursed Tella will still full heal. The nukes are flying.
We see a Zeramus counter nuke hit the walled character on Xenocat screen. Going to cash in an elixir to fill up Tella's pitiful MP total. More counter nukes over on Rexbanner's side, and that is a lot of damage each one of those nukes that hits. That's quad 9s right there.
Man.
Well, we're into the point where, like, trying to nerf all these big bangs can become difficult. But that's going to be what you really want to do to ensure Palom stays alive. Otherwise, you have to revive him each time. Rex might be able to get by that a little bit easier with the damage that he's able to do with the Berserk edge.
Possibly also clogging that queue.
Yeah.
Pushing Zeromus back in the queue to get more turns in. Yeah, saw the shake and I'm like, nope. It's one of those, you get into these moments and you see the shake, is like, was that it? Nope. Oh man.
Xenocat's in a rough spot right now.
Ooh, both Sid and Palom down. Gets a black hole, so may be able to recover.
Well, here comes a big bang over on Rexbanner's side. Ooh, rocks are falling on Xenocat's screen. That was not a nerfed big bang for Rexbanner.
Ooh, no, it was not. And that
rocks are falling.
Oh, but will the Yang survive and be able to do enough damage to get Zeromus down? Punching away.
Oh, there falls on Rexbanner's.
And there's the crumble.
Looks like Rexbanner is winner 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 29 seconds. We'll see what the final time is on Xenocats shortly. As the crumble is over there. Wow.
That is
44. 15 seconds.
That is, by rules, not a tie. Looks like we have both runners in here. GG's to both you, Rex and Xenocat.
Good evening, folks. GG Xenocat.
Yep. Good evening. GG's to you, Rexbanner. That was a heck of a race.
That was.
Well, there were so many things going on in that in that race. Just overall, the first thing that Xenocat I want to ask you about was going through Dwarf Castle, deciding to get rid of Edge. What was your thought process during that? Because that was the part that I had the most questions about.
I was like, I know I have this longsword, but longsword Edge is not ideal. I want to keep the Edward around because I knew I was going to go straight to DKC at that point and cheese that. And I'm like, I need the Sid to anchor because that was Storfax Sid was my best anchor at the time. And so I'm like, I'll just ditch Edge for now. Tella's my only white mage, and I like having someone who can cast Berserk and healing spells. Palom is doing great. Yang doesn't need gear, he's just going to be fine. If I find another Edge, I'll pick him up later, but at that point I was like, I'm going to keep Edward around for now, ditch Edge for now, we'll see who else comes along. And got very lucky with second Edge.
Yeah, it paid off because if I recall correctly, that was right after you bought a longsword in Kabul too, and that's a lot of money to invest in a character that you just threw away. But it ended up paying off when you got that second Edge, of course.
Yeah, I did feel a little bit bad about it because of that investment in the longsword, but I was like, it's fine. I shouldn't worry too much about that. I'm going to have to play a little bit gambly, and ditching Edge is a little bit gambly.
Okay, and Rexbanner, my biggest question for you. You made us very nervous throughout a lot of the seed that you were either forgetting the pan or forgetting to go to Sheila 2. What was your thoughts overall on that? Was that something you were planning to wait until you were in the neighborhood, or what was going on with that? Because we know that the legend sword is there.
It was. I just wanted to finish my checks underground that I wanted to do before heading up top. I didn't want to go up, check it out, and then, if it didn't turn into anything did me any good, then I have to go travel back underground, because I think I did Fey March 2 or the Ashura spot, and then Tower and Luca? Yeah, or Luca then Tower. So yeah, I just wanted to finish the underground that I wanted to do before heading back up top. I didn't want to go back.
So with the result of this, you're now both 1-1 with the win for points advantage that Xenocat had going in. So congratulations, you forced the game 3, Rexbanner. And I guess I don't want you to talk about what your strategy is with both of you right here with you, but what are your thoughts about this matchup? It seems really exciting so far from our end.
I know Xenocat's a quality player in that. I was expecting a good match, and with seeing these times, it seems like a good matchup. I have zero complaints. Like, that made for an entertaining race for, I'm sure, the folks watching. It made it entertaining for me to see it that close again. Not a tie this time, at least.
Yeah, this is great, and I mean I would rather have won, I suppose, to advance, but it's not that bad losing this one. That just means we get more free enterprise.
Has spoken like a true free enterprise fan.
Always got to have more free enterprise.
So did you have anything that you wanted to add about either this race that we had tonight, or maybe the flag set changes from Swiss to brackets that you find really interesting?
I would like to say that was a rude start.
Yes.
You gave us an Edward, you gave us the spoon, but the spoon flag is off. Why?
You should have heard how much Oscar was laughing about that.
Look, Oscar made up for it by giving you lots of money.
Yes, that was very nice.
That was nice to see. What was it, 72,000 to start?
It was a lot. That's kind of part of why I didn't feel so bad about buying that longsword, because I'm
sure
a much smaller starting kit. So I was like, I can splurge.
Well, congratulations to both of you. This was one of the best races that we've had when it's this close to open up. We're right at the beginning of the brackets stage, so GG's to both of you. Can't wait to see the next race that both of you have. Did you have any final thoughts about tonight?
It was fun, and I'd just like to thank all of you folks for putting this on for us. Without all the help from everyone, restreamers, commentators, organizers, we wouldn't be able to do this. So just I'd like to thank everyone for that.
Yeah, same here, and I'm definitely looking forward to watching this VOD back, because, oh my goodness.
Same. I'm looking forward to the watch back.
All right, GG's again, and that was our winner of today's race and runner-up, Rexbanner and Xenocat, putting on one heck of a race. Tybalt, did you have any other final thoughts about this race tonight that we saw?
No, not at this time. You covered the questions that I had, so.
Once again, thank you to the Restream team, Oscar on the Restream, Aegis on the tracking. We need them for a show, and as always, they do such a great job for us. Thank you to RPG Limit Break, one of the great partners that we've had throughout this event, making it really fun to be on their show here. And right now, we are going to send you on over to the Free Enterprise channel for Night Dew versus Gambit for more Lali-Ho League brackets action. Please, no spoilers about this race. People are going to want to come back and watch this, and let them watch it without knowing what happens. So take care. For Tybalt, I'm Rex Raoul. Hope you all have a great night.